Hello everyone, my name is Raj. Welcome to my channel. In today's tutorial, we are going to take a look at how to apply widget blueprints as textures on your static mesh. I would like to thank Faraz Qayyum from Zero Density for this wonderful tip. So without any further delay, let's jump into the tutorial and see how we can do this. First things first, we need a screen, of course. So here I have modeled a very basic screen. It's made up of two parts. One is the screen itself and the other is just the frame. If you want the same exact model, you can go to my Gumroad and download it. It's free. So before I export this as an FBX to Unreal, we need to make sure that the UVs are correct so that when we apply the texture, it looks perfect. Otherwise, without UVs, the texture will obviously not look correct. So I'm going to jump into my UV editing. You can do this in any 3D software that you like. First thing I'm going to do is select my screen, hit tab, and I'm going to select all the faces. And right now you can see here that the UVs are all one on top of the other, right? What I'm going to do is, since I've selected all the faces, I'm going to go up to UV and I'm going to do a smart UV project. And without changing any settings, I will just click OK. Now you can see on the left hand side that the UVs have been arranged in this manner. To visualize this better, I'm going to add a UV grid in Blender so that I can see how it exactly looks like when the texture is applied. So I'm going to click on this icon, new image, and I'm going to generate a color grid. The size is 1024, 1024 is fine for now. And I'm going to give this a name, UV grid tutorial, and I'm going to say OK. Now you can see that the grid is here and the UVs are over here, but I still don't see them in here. That's because I have to apply this texture to a material and then apply that material to this screen. Let's do that. First, I'm going to save this texture. So if I go up here to image and do a save as, it will ask me the name. I will give it the same name, UV grid tut, and save. And here in this layout, I'm going to go to the materials tab. You can see a material has already been applied. And here in the base color, I'm just going to click on this yellow button and I'm going to select image texture, open, and here is my UV grid. Now you can see the texture, but the problem is that it's rotated 90 degrees. To fix this, I am going to go back to my edit mode, select all the faces. I'm going to drag and select the UVs, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees by clicking R and 90. I'm going to grab it and just bring it somewhere like this. And I'm just going to scale it down a little bit like this. This should be fine. And now you can see that it looks evenly distributed. The orientation is also correct, so everything is fine. And now I'm just going to call this material. I'm going to give this a name, screen material. So to do the UVs of the frame, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select it, go to edit mode by clicking tab, select all by A, and this time I'm just going to go to UV and do a smart UV project and say OK. Let me remove the UV grid, and this is how the UVs of the frame has been laid out. Now I'm ready to export this as an FBX. Before I do that, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to select the screen, which is this one, edit mode, select all the faces. I have the UVs over here. I'm going to click on UV and I'm going to export UV layout. I think I can save it here and call this screen UV layout. This is how the screen UV layout looks like. So in Unreal, we are going to use this as a reference file to place our text or images on top of this within the boundaries of this rectangle so that they appear correctly on the screen. So let's jump to Unreal and do the rest of the work. Okay, I need to export this as an FBX, so I'm going to go up to File, Export and FBX, LED screen, and Export FBX. Now in Unreal, let us import the static mesh first. I'm going to make a folder for that. Right click, new folder, static mesh. Here is the FBX. Open, import all. You can see that the material from Blender has also come through, which looks like this. We will talk about this in a while. I will close this. And these are the two static mesh. One is of the frame and the other is the screen. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a blueprint, and then I'm going to add the static mesh to the blueprint first. I will create a folder, a blueprint. I'm going to right click and create a blueprint class, actor, BP, LED screen. And I'm going to open this, go back to the folder static mesh. I'm going to select this two. Let's just hit save, Control Shift S. Select the two static mesh, go to the blueprint and click on add and static mesh multiple assets. As you can see, the screen is here as a blueprint. Compile, bring it to the side, go to the blueprint. I can save it, Control Shift S, and drag it to my scene like this. Now the screen is ready. We need a widget blueprint which we can apply as a texture. I will just put this over here. To create a widget blueprint, I'm going to right click, user interface, and widget blueprint. Widget blueprint, UMG underscore LED design. Double click to open it. The first thing that I'm going to add is a canvas. So just search for canvas. I will drag and drop it here like this. I am going to select the canvas panel, then go up to this drop down where it says fill screen, and I'm going to select custom. So in the size, if you remember, we had exported our screen UV layout, this one, which was 1024 by 1024. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to say 1024 by 1024. Next thing that I'm going to add to this is an image. I'm going to drag this down to the canvas like this. I'm going to increase the size of this like this, roughly. And I can maybe even change the color to whatever I like. And if you see the image is going out of the bounds, it's very easy to fix. You just select the canvas panel, you go all the way down, and somewhere here in clipping, just make sure it's set to clip to bounds. And now anything that goes beyond these dotted lines is cropped off immediately. And just add text, drop it down to the canvas like this. Text is over here, give it a darker color, and maybe I can say size to content, and I can increase the font size a little bit. Drag it somewhere here, compile and save. Now before we apply this as a texture to the static mesh, I need to make sure that this text is placed in the correct area. To do this, I need to take my screen UV layout and use it as a reference point. What I'm going to do is, here I am going to take my UV layout, which is this one, just drag it to the content browser like this. I have it here. Back in the widget blueprint, I am going to add another image. Okay, drag it here. I'm going to call this UV layout. Go back to the content browser, select the texture, and now while my UV layout image is still selected, I'm going to click on the image over here like this. It's here, it's very tiny, you can't see it, all I need to do is I need to increase the size like this, 1024 by 1024. I will just lock this UV layout, and now I know exactly where my text can be placed. So if I want it at the center of the screen, I can put it like this. If I want it at the bottom, I can put it like this. So for now, let me just put it at the center, but I don't want to see the UV layout, of course. So what I'm going to do is select the UV layout, and here just search for, first unlock it, of course, and then search for visible, just make it hidden, compile. Let's jump back to our blueprint, and here in the screen you can see we already have a material that is applied. For the tutorial sake, let us create the material from scratch and see how to go about it. So if I just hit Control space, I can get my content browser over here, and in here I'm going to right click and I'm going to make a new material. I'm going to call this m_led. Double click to open it, right click and search for texture sample. Click on texture sample. I can select any image that I want. For now, because it doesn't matter, I'm going to change it anyway, and I'm going to drag the RGB to the base color. It doesn't matter what texture you're choosing here, because this will anyways be replaced by your widget blueprint. The one thing that we need to do is click on the texture sample, right click and convert to parameter. I will call this screen to bit, and I'm going to save it. Now in the blueprint, I'm going to take the material that we just created and apply it. So from the materials, I'm just going to search for m_led. This is the one that we just created, select, and now we have applied that material. Now let's take this one more step and see how we can bring in the widget blueprint. To bring the widget blueprint into this blueprint, I'm going to click on add and search for widget component. Widget is somehow parented to this. I'm going to drag it out. Now select the widget component, and in the details, if you scroll here to user interface, under widget class, you can select the widget that we just made, which is UMG LED design. UMG LED design. You can see it has appeared here, but the size is not right. That's because the draw size, it has to be the same as the canvas size, which is 1024 by 1024. I can still see the UV, so I will go back to my design and just turn it off like this. Compile, save, and now I don't see it. Okay, now we have the screen, we have the widget. The next step is to apply the widget as a texture onto the screen. Let's do that next. So in the construction script, I am going to take that screen like this, drop it here. From here, I'm going to drag out a pin and search for create dynamic material instance. I'm going to connect this with the construction script and store this value in a variable. So promote it to variable, and I'm going to call this dynamic material. That's good enough for a construction script. We have made a dynamic material instance of the screen and stored it in a variable called dynamic material. And now we go to the event graph. In the event graph, I'm going to take this variable that we just created, drag it, let go, and get dynamic mat. Drag out a pin and search for set texture parameter value. It will ask me for the parameter name. I know this already, which is screen width. I will copy this and just paste this over here. And now I'm going to take the widget, drag it here, let go, drag a pin and search for get render target. And I'm going to connect this to the value. And now I need an event. I need an event tick for this and connect this over here. Compile and save. Now in the viewport, if I hit play, you can see that the widget has been applied as a texture on the curved screen, but I also see that the widget is visible because the widget is right at the center of the screen. It's a very easy fix. I will go back to the blueprint. In the viewport, I'm going to select the widget and just move it way down, like minus 2000. So it's somewhere there. And I need to make sure that I have enabled tick when off screen. Okay, compile and save. And now go here and click play, and you have your widget right at the center. Now, since you already have the UV reference, you can easily place your text or images wherever you want. So if I go back to my design like this, and I turn back the UV, now I know if I put the text, again, I need to log this. I know that if I put my text here, it will appear exactly at this corner. I don't have to do any guesswork. So compile, save, go back here, and the text is here. And so this is how you can use widget blueprints as textures on any of the static mesh that you want. Using this same technique, I have created one more screen. I can show it to you. So here, if I click play, I have some sort of animation running in this. You can see this is the animation that I'm playing here, right? And let me stop this. If I go to the widget blueprint, this is how it looks. So, and the UV of this is like this. If you want to know how to do the animations and how to control it from the blueprint, just drop it in the comment. It's a very simple blueprint as to how to control the animations from the widget as well as the blueprint. Yeah, but if you want to know how to do this, I can make this as a part 2. So for now, that's all. Thank you and have a good one.